In this video, we're going to address shoulder flexion. Shoulder flexion refers to movement of raising your arm forward and upward, such as when you reach above your head to lift an object or pull something down that's in front of you. This movement is crucial for a variety of daily activities and athletic performances, such as placing your overhead luggage in a plane or doing any vertical pulling work in the gym. We will discuss how we can regain the mobility to reach our arms overhead without compensation from other areas and fix our scapula's ability to upwardly rotate freely without restriction. Today, we're just going to need a lacrosse ball and a foam roller to go through this protocol. Prolonged periods of sitting and general lack of physical activity can lead to decreased shoulder mobility. When we don't take our shoulders regularly through a large range of motion, the musculature surrounding the joint can become extremely tight. We want to start by providing blood flow and loosening up the tight tissue of our anterior, leading to some of this dysfunction with getting our arms overhead. Anterior Delt Myofascial Release. Start by laying face down on the ground, placing a lacrosse ball under your anterior delt. This is where your pec and shoulder intersect. While shifting our weight to the side of the lacrosse ball and placing our hand behind our back, we want to search for the sensitive tissue that needs some attention. When you find a spot that's painful, take deep breaths and move your elbow up and down like a chicken wing. Another effective method is making small circles on the ball with your shoulder. We want to perform this for 60 seconds per side. Make sure you keep your shoulder on the ball and maintain constant pressure down. Tight tissue is like a dried sponge. It's not very pliable and it can easily be strained or torn. Sitting for long periods, especially with poor posture, can cause the shoulders to round excessively forward and the musculature in your chest to get tight. This hunch position shortens the muscles in the front of your body, while it also lengthens and weakens the muscles in your back, contributing to limited shoulder flexion and scapula movement. By using the lacrosse ball, we can help make the tissue healthier and improve the fluid that's supposed to be getting to the area, making us more effective at stretching it and trying to activate the tissue that's weak. Next, let's move on to our lats, which when tight, can hinder our scapula's ability to upwardly rotate whenever we try to raise our arms above our head. Lat Myofascial Release. Grab a foam roller and lay on your side. Place the foam roller under your armpit with your bottom arm's hand on your head. Think of lifting your shoulder off the ground as much as you can while also reaching back behind your head. From here, have your top leg crossed over your bottom leg with the foot flat on the floor. Press your hips off the ground and slowly roll yourself up and down over the foam roller until it reaches the bottom of your lat all the way up to your armpit. If you find an extremely tender area, just take deep breaths and stay still or focus on rotating your torso up to the ceiling and then down towards the ground. Continue this for 60 seconds per side. When the lats are too tight, they can restrict the ability to raise the arm overhead. This tightness limits the shoulder's range of motion, making it difficult to perform such actions. Again, it's like reaching for something overhead in a cupboard or performing any vertical pushing or pulling exercises. To achieve overhead movement despite tight lats, the body often compensates with excessive arching of the lower back. It also will cause excessive elevation of the shoulder blades. These compensations can lead to poor movement patterns and increase the risk of injury in other areas, such as your lower back and neck. Next, let's focus on stretching the tissue of our pecs that are tight, that are pulling us into a bad position, limiting our abilities to get our arm overhead. First, let's walk up to the corner of a wall or doorway, placing one hand at about head height. From here, take a step forward with the leg further away from the wall. While having a slight bend in your elbow, rotate away from the wall until you feel a light stretch in your pec and shoulder. Hold this position, taking deep breaths for about 30 seconds. Don't rush this stretch. You need to slowly increase this range of motion. Trying to force yourself into a position too early can lead to straining something, further setting you back. Also, remember to maintain that external rotation and think of the crease of your elbow pointing toward the ceiling as you go through this stretch. Lastly, we want to do a little bit of dynamic movement, replicating getting into an overhead position, while also working on a little bit of rotation from our shoulder and our scapula. Serratus anterior reach rotations. While hanging off a countertop, sturdy object, or just a set of rings, hip hinge until you reach your end range of motion with your arms overhead. From here, rotate and reach and thread the other arm between the space between the floor and your torso, and then rotate toward the ceiling while taking a deep breath. Make sure to be leaning back to really work on stretching your lat throughout this process. The beauty here is we're going in shoulder flexion, and we're also going through a little bit of scapular rotation at the same time, which is going to mimic some of the movement we would do if we're going for our arms overhead. Upward rotation of the scapula is necessary to achieve full range of shoulder flexion. Without it, the arm would be limited in how high it can lift. This movement helps maintain the harmony of the shoulder joint, reducing the risk of impingement and other injuries. A more advanced protocol would be to hang for 45 seconds or so from a pull-up bar. Use bands to help assist taking the load away so it isn't unbearable on your shoulders. And if you don't have adequate mobility to even get there, just bend your knees while holding onto a bar and a rack to stretch your shoulders and lats while being able to adjust the tension with your legs. You can also do this with a set of rings. Having adequate shoulder flexion is imperative in daily activities. If we lack it and we go to grab something from a high cabinet, we might compensate by going into excessive arching of our lower back, leading to potential lumbar issues. Tight shoulders are common, so don't feel discouraged. Stick to this protocol daily, and over time, you'll be moving better and you'll start accessing new ranges of motion, which is going to correlate to a larger exercise selection, strengthening those muscle groups, and helping you be a fitter, happier individual throughout this journey of getting better. I appreciate you for being here, and best of luck with improving your shoulder mobility. Keep me updated on how it goes. I look forward to seeing you soon.